All right, a couple things I want to show you guys to get this video started. First of all, look at my nice clean truck, and that's what that yard did to my tires. That is some crazy mud right there. It will, and I drove through rain, it still won't come off. Anyway, I'll show you guys something. I gotta try to get this damn thing to reset. Plug that back in a minute. But while the reefer's off real quick, hopefully it doesn't kick on. This right here, if you guys, longtime subscribers will recall, oh man, no, let me turn that off for a second, otherwise it's gonna get really loud. This right here is pigtail, this umbilical, electric, Airline, all that. They're not ever cheap, but they're not anywhere near as expensive as what I went through a few years ago because of this right here. This little carabiner, whatever you want to call it, hook right here. That right there cost me almost $800. That one piece cost me almost $800. So I'm going to explain to y'all what happened in this video. Get this plugged back in, get my reefer turned back on. Hang on. Turn that reefer on or off just for a second so that I can make this video clip. Anyway, we're going to talk about that because I got a friend who just recently spent $1,000 on one. And I'm going to tell you why I'm explaining it here in just a second. All right, y'all. I say y'all. Man, I never said y'all until I moved to Texas. Now I get made fun of it. Anyway, welcome back, Eric here, Driveline, World's Okayest steering wheel holder. I'm rested, finally rested. Man, this morning when I got parked, I felt like a zombie. I literally felt like a zombie. Like, having to do the split again. Well, no, I ended up getting a full clock yesterday because I had to wait at that shipper so much, but I didn't sleep hardly any at all. I ended up being there for 16 hours. So there better be some meaty detention on that load. But I did get, I had a solid 7 hours of sleep today. Like without just nonstop 7 hours. I haven't gotten that in a long time. So I'm feeling good, feeling great. Much better spirits. I got a kicking load tonight, which, by the way, the prime driver that checked in at this place before me tried to tell them that they had the 8:30 p.m. appointment. They do not have the 8:30 p.m. appointment. I have the 8:30 p.m. appointment. So their appointment is for tomorrow. They tried to say there was for 8:30 tonight. The guy was like, well, what do you mean you have the 8:30? I said, I have the 8:30. He said, no, that purple prime truck over there said they have the 8:30. I said, I've got the 8:30. It's right here. I'll call dispatch right now. So that prime truck tried to sneak in and get loaded tonight with my load. If I didn't show up a little bit early, that prime truck may have gotten my load. Nice try. So I'm sitting here waiting. I'm a little bit early. I'm about an hour early. They're gonna live load me. This load's kicking. It's kicking. This is exactly the load that I needed. It pays great. It pays $1,700 for, where's my other, well, actually, let me look right here. I think it's 517 miles. Let me see. Total miles 503. Estimated revenue $1,703. Now, for those who don't know, that's to the truck. That's what primes out, but that includes the line haul and the fuel surcharge. But still, great load, excellent load, sausage. And it would have been even better if it just ran overnight tonight, but it doesn't deliver until 4 a.m. Saturday morning. But in this instance, that's okay, man. I just need an easy 2 days. And with $1,700 for 500 miles, I'll take it. If they wanted me to run it overnight tonight, I would have run it overnight tonight. But anyway, the reason for talking about this pigtail thing is that someone sent me a screenshot where some I don't want to say who, because this person gets triggered and is very sensitive, but someone out there had said that was saying that I was lying about paying, I think it was $750. I can't remember. I mean, this was years ago. It was an old video on my channel. I think it was $750 for a pigtail. Saying that I was lying, I guess, to make, to get clicks or something like that, which is so utterly absurd. I don't get a lot of clicks on my channel, you guys. I get like 2,000 views per video eventually. It's not like I don't need to. Anyway, whatever. So I'm double dipping. I'm going double down. And I will tell you guys, yes, I paid almost $800 for a pigtail for my truck, which was ridiculous. And not only did I pay almost $800, here's what made it even worse. And I'll tell you in a minute why this came up the other day, but here's what made it even worse. This truck was, not this truck, but the truck that happened on was, I think, 5 weeks, I don't know. It was brand new, okay? Brand new truck. And I think it had just come out of the 30-day period where they, cover like any screw, like anything, anything on the truck. It may have been within that 30-day period. But so here's what happened. That carabiner or whatever that hook is that hooks on the back, that broke. Like it just bent and torqued and like it bent up and broke. Now, I didn't make any sharp turns or anything like that, so there was not a scenario that, like, I played this through my head 1,000 times. There was not a scenario I could think of that would pull that hard to break that hook or what. I don't know if they're called carabiners, whatever that thing is. And I had just pre-tripped it. I had just left a truck stop, I don't know, like an hour earlier, and I'm certain I glanced up there. I always glance up and look at the airline or at the lines, I would think I would have noticed it if it was in the condition that it was in when all this went down, but didn't notice it. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Y'all's theories are just as good as mine, okay? Again, didn't make any jackknife turns or anything that it was adjusted properly. So it wasn't too tight and I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, that hook failed. And what happened was I got out on the interstate and I didn't know that anything was wrong until, and this is early in the morning on a weekend, until I look in the mirror and I see my trailer lights, they start blinking. Like not consistently, like there's something shorting out, right? And then they just go out. Then I just lose all trailer lights. Thank God it was at night or early in the morning, and I could see that was happening because that told me there was something going on. So I took the next exit, and by the time that I got to the bottom of the exit, I started losing brakes on the trailer. Like it was a hill going down. There's a big car plant. I can't remember where it was, like Alabama or somewhere like that. Big car plant, and I'd gotten off on that exit. And as I'm coming down that hill, there was a lot of pressure having to be put on my truck brakes. So my trailer brakes weren't getting a lot of air. It was very obvious something was going on with the trailer and the umbilical or the pigtail. So I get out and I go back there and I look, and the whole pigtail is down on the cement, on the pavement. It's completely broken loose from the back, and the thing's laying down on the pavement, and it had eaten through. I think in that video I may have showed the pigtail because I had it for a while. I don't remember. But anyway, it had eaten through the entire electric line and was starting to eat through the airlines. Because I was dragging it on the interstate, doing 65 miles an hour. I was dragging the pigtail on the interstate. So, now, I had a spare airline, but that wouldn't help me in the electrical, and both airlines were starting to be damaged, and I only had one spare airline. So it was a problem. I was kind of stuck, okay? So I call Road Assist, and there was a pilot that wasn't too far from there, but they didn't have a shop, I don't think. Basically, Road Assist told, took a little bit of figuring out what was going to happen. And then they found somebody that was going to come, but Road Assist informed me that this was going to be very expensive. Now, why? Why? For those of you who actually are experienced and don't just go out there and spout nonsense on social media and act like you're experienced with stuff like this, let me ask you this. What do you think happens if you run out of fuel in the middle of nowhere and you have to have somebody bring you a little jug of fuel? I'll tell you what happens. You're going to pay about $500 for that service, especially if it's on a weekend in the middle of the night. Outside of normal operating hours, you're going to pay about $500 to have someone bring you a few gallons of fuel. So don't sit there and say, if someone says it costs $500 to get 10 gallons of fuel delivered to them, that they're lying for clicks. That is fact. That's the reality of this business. You should know that, the person who said this. You should, of all people, should know that. But if you're going to go out there and say that we're lying about it, then it makes me question, like, what kind of... Anyway, so that's what happened to me. It's not that the pigtail was that expensive. It's that that's what they charged me to bring it to me. So it ended up being almost $800. I was livid. And I had taken it... I had gotten into argument with Road Assist or Success Leasing about it. I had taken it back to Springfield with me to prove that it was a failure of that clip. And they even agreed with me that that's what caused it. But that clip or that carabiner or whatever you want to call it is not, that's a third-party aftermarket piece that is not included in warranty of any kind. So one of the only things on a brand new truck that does not get covered in any way, shape, or form is what failed within the first 6 weeks or whatever of having that truck. And it ended up costing me almost $800. The guy brought out a brand new pigtail, which, by the way, that pigtail ended up failing, I think, a few weeks after that. That pigtail was cheap, generic, and had all kinds of problems. But I was fighting with them over this money because I'm like, hey, what the hell? I got a brand new truck, and it's you guys put that on there, okay? Like, if you're not going to stand by it, get more expensive stuff. Get better quality stuff on there. If you're not going to stand by it, don't put cheap shit on there that can cause that kind of a problem. But whatever. So that's why now I am much more eyes on even little things like the carabiner that holds the pigtail on there. Like when I'm doing my walk around, I'm much more eyes on certain things like that, because with experience, you're going to learn that that can be very, very costly. It's not that the part or the piece is that much money. It's that if it happens to you outside of business hours and you're in the middle of nowhere, whoever's going to wake up or leave the bar or whatever they're doing to bring you that part is going to charge you up the ass. They are going to, you're going to feel it, okay? And that's what happened. Now, the reason this came up, and this is interesting, because we were having this conversation the other day, and Ray, my buddy Ray, who also, he's been with Prime for, I think, 15 years, private fleet owner. Turns out he had one happen similar, a little bit different. One of his trucks, a company driver, did jackknife the truck and ripped everything out of the trailer, and that cost him $1,000. $1,000 to have the pigtail brought out of business hours, in the middle of nowhere, a long way from anything, almost $1,000. So let this be a lesson to you that if you're new, trying to figure it out, get your footing, just upgrading, coming through orientation or something like that, you really need to just get eyes. When you're doing that walk around, you really need to get eyes on everything. And even then, I may have overlooked something. Maybe it was starting to bend. I could have looked better. I swore I got eyes on it, but now I'm much more. I only drove 10 miles to get to this shipper. I was up there looking at those things before I left. I'm just constantly looking at little things like that, because that hurts. Almost $800 for a pigtail that you can get for what, $200? Yeah, that hurts. That hurts a lot. So education's not free, and hopefully that can be just a little bit of a lesson for you guys. And to the person who's out there, who likes to go out there on social media and literally make shit up and lie for clicks, accusing me of doing it. Yep, you can indeed spend almost $800 on a pigtail. You can spend almost $500 to have 10 gallons of fuel delivered to you in the middle of nowhere. That's real, that's trucking. It's part of it. Just try to learn from other people's mistakes, like mine, even though I'm convinced I didn't make a mistake in that scenario, and try to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. So anyway, this guy's he's pulling a trailer out now. Then there's one other truck that's getting loaded before me. Then I'll be unloaded, and then I'll be off and running tonight. I got coffee here. It's not hot. Well, the coffee's hot, but it's not hot outside. Really nice evening. I'm well rested. I'm ready to run tonight, man. It is currently 8 p.m. You guys won't have this video until tomorrow, Friday. Channel members will have this video tonight, which is Thursday night. So I'll probably be in Discord tonight in the voice chat. Man, you guys, there's some cool stuff coming to Discord. God, there's some. I've got a guy right now who's developing an app or a bot for Discord that's going to allow us to search any MC number at any given time through Discord and pull up their out of service record, their safety record, all that good stuff. Just little things like that, that you can do right in Discord. You can also pull up on-demand weather, current weather, and weather forecasts anywhere in the country in Discord while you're chatting with other drivers. It's pretty dope, you guys. driverdiscord.com. Check it out. All right, that's it for this update. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive to thrive. I'll talk to y'all soon.